class. I hope that you're having a great day after school, and this is what I'm doing. But I wanted to just take a few minutes and go over the Miss Madler Math app of the week. I know that the bulletin's been up there, but we haven't had any time in class to actually talk about the apps and show you why I'm doing this and why it's going to be such a good resource for you. So I wanted to just take a few minutes, so bear with me, but we're going to go through some of the apps. The first app that I want to talk about, and I know that the screen might not be able to show it to you, but you'll be able to, I'll be very specific on what they are. So the first one is the MyScript Calculator. So the MyScript Calculator is a great calculator. Why I like it so much is that you can actually just use your finger to solve the problem. So like everything that you're writing down, you just use your finger and it picks up your handwriting. So some of the things that this calculator picks up is it does pick up square roots. So we know that the square root of 2 plus 2 is really the square root of 4, which is 2. So like the calculator is picking those things up. Some of the other things that it picks up is it can do exponents when it wants to cooperate, but it does do exponents. There we go. Some of the other things that it does is say that, for instance, we have this problem. We have 48 divided by 8 over 3. So we know that 48 divided by 8 over 3 is 2. We're good. Say, for instance, that I didn't want to write 48, but I wanted to write 54. So the calculator lets me just cross that off, and then I can write 54 in its place. Okay? But then I realized, oh, I don't want to divide it by 3. So I can also just slash those out, and it'll get rid of that for me, as long as we include the division part. Well, normally it does let me do that. But the other thing that we can do with this is that if we have 4 times 5, it'll tell us that it's 20. But say I wanted to write 4 times 4, you also can just write right over top of the number. So instead of a 5, I wanted a 4, so it'll tell me that it's 16. So that's a great tool too. The other thing I was going to mention was that we can do, it does pick up all the symbols that we've been using in class, so you shouldn't run into any problems there. Like I said, this is a free app. The only thing that some people run into a problem with is that sometimes, I don't know if you caught it, but sometimes when I write on here, like it'll automatically pick it up to be like random symbols like this. So if you don't like that, it automatically generates the solution for you right away. You can change that. So I wanted to just show you guys how to change that in case you ever run into that problem. But right up here in the left corner up top, you can go to the MyScript Calculator, and then a couple settings come out. So in case you need more information from me, or for the MyScript Calculator, you can go to the tutorial, which will show you the different features that it has that I kind of walked through with you. And then the important one that I want to pick out is this settings button. So if you go to the settings button, this choice up here, the very, very top one, says automatic calculation. So if you don't want the automatic calculation, you can go ahead and shut that off. And what that does for you is you'll notice this little calculate button that comes up in the bottom right corner. And that's really important because then if we clear our screen, if I have 2 plus question mark equals 20, to figure out what this is, I am able to fully write out what I want to write before the calculator generates my handwriting. So if after I finish writing everything, you click the calculate button, and it'll figure it out for you. So if you like that automatic feature, keep it on. If you don't like that automatic feature, there is a way to shut it off. So in case you forget, it's always up in the upper left corner. Go to settings, automatic calculation, off. So that was app 1. That was week 1. Week 2's app was this Desmos online free graphing calculator. So this is a free graphing calculator similar to the ones that we have in class, but it also is on your iPad. You're able to use it when you're doing your homework and stuff. And let me go ahead and show you first before I tell you any more details. But say, for instance, we want to graph our parabola that we found today in class. So we knew that the area was x squared or n squared for the first rectangle. So this is what our graph gave to us. So our graph is right here, and we're able to see that this is the same thing we got in class. We can expand our views on it too, but I also want to go ahead and graph the other one we found. So the other one we found was x squared minus 4. So when we look at that, that's exactly what we got in class. So this is a really important app that I want everybody to download on their iPads so that we can use it in class. And in case you guys are graphing, instead of showing me on the graphing calculator, you can use this and then we can show the results for the Apple TV. So this is something that I want you to download. We're going to be using it, and it's free, so there's no cost to it. So go ahead and download this one. This one's the Desmos Graphing Calculator online. So I can give you guys more details. There's also stuff on the front bulletin board with that one. Week 3's app was something called Virtual Nerd. So Virtual Nerd is a great resource, but I would classify this as more of a study resource. So if you find yourself needing extra practice with certain things during for the upcoming test, this is where you want to go. So this is the screen that it looks like when you first open up the app, and you have two choices, Common Core or the Virtual Nerd. So you're going to want to continue with the Virtual Nerd part. When you go to this section, it'll list it by grade and then by assessment, but we want to focus on grade, and we're going to want to do Algebra 1. So when you choose Algebra 1, you're going to see a list of different subjects that might be a little overwhelming, but these are topics that we've either already talked about or we're going to talk about. And I just wanted to push you in the right direction in case you did want to use this for the upcoming test. Some of the things that you want to focus on are this polynomials and factoring, and you also want to focus on the quadratic equations and functions. But right now, like I said, I'd strongly suggest you guys looking at the polynomials and factoring. So let's go ahead and go to that. And then it gives us this list. So it might be different because you guys aren't used to seeing things grouped in their math terms. So if you're having a hard time figuring out which lesson we're going over right now, you can just come ask me, you can ask Mr. Catone, but I can lead you in the right direction. But something that I want you guys to focus on Friday, we're going to be learning about multiplying polynomials. So that's our second option right there. So in case you guys didn't see it, our second option right here was multiplying polynomials. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And then it gives us two options, multiply using FOIL and then multiplying using the distributive property. So we're going to be learning about something, this idea called FOIL. So that is something that I would put on your radar to be able to go back and watch. So if you forget the steps of how to get there, come talk to me and I would love to help you figure it out. These videos, the nice thing is that I can click on a video and it'll play right from the site. So it doesn't take me out to an outside source like YouTube. It lets me remain right in the site, and you can play them, make sure your volume's up because sometimes it's goofy. It'll play with the volume or without the volume. So make sure it's not on silent. And you can go ahead and watch these videos. They're great explanations. It's another perspective besides Mr. Catone's and myself. So in case you need a fresh start at something, go ahead and try one of these review videos. So just to reiterate, that was the Virtual Nerd. So week 1 was the MyScript Calculator. Week 2 was the Desmos Online Graphing Calculator. Week 3 was Virtual Nerd. And this week, which is week 4, is Khan Academy. So I'd be really surprised if you guys didn't know what Khan Academy was. But if you don't, it's okay. Khan Academy is a very well-known and very large and expanding company that has been mass-producing videos, video tutorials for all kinds of different subjects. It started out just for math, but now it's gone across the span of different subjects. So they just updated the new iPad app, and that's why I think it's so important for you guys to download this. So I expect you guys to download these apps because they are free, and we are going to be using them, so make sure you're taking note and downloading these as well. So this Khan Academy app, when you click on it, it's very user-friendly. It's probably one of my favorite math apps of all time. It'll open up here, and like I said, there's different subjects, but we're going to focus on this blue ribbon right here, and that's for the math. So for math, you can always remember because it'll have the teddy bear for the early math. But we're unfortunately not for early math. We're going to go up to the very fun Algebra 1. So if you'll see before the Algebra 1, here's Algebra 1. It says 3x squared plus 2x. But right before that, it says Algebra Basics. So in case you find yourself struggling with things we've already gone over, like exponents and our radical equations, finding square roots, estimating square roots, that's where you're going to want to go for that. But right now, let's focus on this Algebra 1. So Algebra 1 will take us into a long and very in-depth breakdown of all of the topics in Algebra 1. But I wanted to go over just a few things. I hope that in your spare time, maybe you finish a math assignment early, maybe during resource time, you guys can go through these apps and look at them. But something that I wanted to just point out is this section right here. It says multiplying and factoring expressions. This is something that I would put on your radar. Make sure that you guys are taking the time to look at this. This is where the upcoming test material is going to be coming from, so make sure you're paying attention to that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, hang on 1 second, let me find it. Okay, so right here it says graphing a parabola with a table of values. So we're under the functions part of the breakdown, and I just wanted to show you an example. You'll see when you're scrolling through that there's either a triangle, which represents a video or a tutorial, or there's stars. So stars take you to an interactive lesson. You'll answer questions. It's more of a practice. If you get them wrong, they can help you, and they'll supply materials to help you figure out where you made your mistake. But for instance, it says graphing a parabola with a table of values. So if you click on this, you'll hear right away him starting to talk about the different things. It's very easy. It's a nice breakdown. He uses he uses his very bright colors, so in case you're a visual person, he'll usually use multiple colors during a tutorial, so it's very helpful. So once again, this is a free app. It's called Khan Academy, and I require you guys, this is a requirement, download this app along with the Virtual Nerd, the Desmos Graphing Calculator, and the MyScript Calculator. And just as a sneak peek to next week's app, it's not officially on the board, but next week's app is going to be something called Number Pieces. So Number Pieces, you might be like, oh, Miss Madler, this is like what we did in elementary school. Yes, I understand. If you look at them, there is the hundreds block, the well-known tens block, and we have the ones. But we're going to be using these for a more in-depth investigation in something that we're going to call factoring. So I don't know how much you guys really want me to show. I'll show one quick example, but we're going to be using this type of idea next week and starting on Friday. So this is something that I want you to download. We won't necessarily use it in class unless we have a lot of time for you guys to fool around with the worksheet and investigating. But this is something that I think that a lot of people who might struggle with this concept in the beginning might use at home. So this is a great app for you guys to have. Like I said, it's a requirement that I want you to download it. And just to give you an example of some of the things that you can do, we'll delete that to start. But for example, we're going to learn that this is a square, and if we label one side of this width, or this length, we know that this is x. And since it's a square, we can automatically say that this other side length is going to be x. So how do we find the area of this? And that would be easy because we know that the area is length times width, so this area is going to be x squared. So say for instance I add 3 of these blocks on, and we know that this is going to be, we know this is 3, so we're going to write down the 3 right there. So now we know that this is going to be, the length is 3x. So we know that this block right here is going to be 3x when we multiply these together. Okay? So you're multiplying like across and we're multiplying up. So we know x times x is going to give us x squared, and we know that x times 3 will give us 3x. So we can do the same thing on top, if it lets me. Okay, so I want to add 2 more green on top. And now we know that this is 2, this distance is 2. And when we multiply 2 times our x, we're going to get 2x up here for this. And so now here comes the fun part. So now you take these little white, or these little yellow squares, and we want to fill in this missing amount. So we want to fill in this space right here to figure out what is our missing amount going to be. So we can go ahead and do that. And when we do that, you'll see that we'll get 6 perfect little, we used to call them the ones, but they're just the yellow squares for right now. But our yellow squares, there's 6 of them that fit perfectly right here. So, a neat nifty trick, you can also see that 2 times 3 will give us our 6 right here. Our 6 right there. So you'll see, I won't show you what we'll do past this, but I just wanted to show you that you are going to be able to use this, and this isn't like basic math, this is an algebra concept, so don't look at this as being like, oh, this is elementary school, Miss Madler, but it's not. Definitely download this one. This one's free too. It's called Number Pieces Basic, and I'll have more information for you about these as well. So like I said, just take a few minutes before class, or if you get here early, and look at the bulletin board out front of the classroom where it has all the apps for the week there. So these are all free. I'm going to try and get free apps as long as I can, but they're going to be useful. So I hope you enjoyed.